Not a fan at all, but it is widely practiced at Headington, and I'm sure lots of other boat clubs up and down the country. There's no hiding in a single.
No, absolutely not. And that was the one every Saturday morning in the depths of midwinter. Coach would say 16 kilometres in a single, 4 2Ks, horrible, awful.
I think a punishment we all know far too well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Globe girl, I tell you what, it looks like it's tricky going for both crews at the moment. Get into that sort of mid-race point, and all of a sudden the boat just feels a lot heavier, but we can see there race 146 making its way down the course. So we'll keep an eye on that. Phoebe Hayden next in action in race 147. Two girls that I know reasonably well. Phoebe Hayden of Isle of Ely Rowing Club on the Berkshire station, and Saskia Brewster of Wimbledon High School on the Buckinghamshire station. Two girls who placed well at the National Schools Regatta. I'm quite surprised to see them match up against each other in a heat. That might have something to do with their time trial rankings. Just having a look at those two girls coming down, it looks like at the moment Saskia from Wimbledon perhaps having the better of the opening exchanges. She was actually 7th in Championship Singles at the National Schools Regatta and attended Great Britain Trials in February and finished 13th in a double scull. Just watching that race on the top right hand side of your screen, Globe and Sheffield City. It looks like the girl from Sheffield, Baker, has rowed down Collins of Globe, which does not come as a huge surprise. Both girls look like they were struggling a little bit in the middle of the race. It looks like she just had the legs to come through there, winding the rate up. Nice lengthy strokes, trying to maintain that length. That takes a lot though, that does. That's a lot of mental fortitude, a lot of ability to just envisage what you want to do, how you want to move, and to row through your opposition in a knockout round like this is not easy.
I think definitely with singles, one of the main aspects is being able to move a boat properly and well. Kind of bigger boats kind of come down to erg schools, but I think when you're in a single by yourself, being able to have that fluidity around the back end, get the bows out the water, flowing through the water, really will be an advantage in a race like this.
Absolutely. And just as Saskia and Phoebe pass us, nothing to choose between them. In what is actually almost identical kit as well, which makes our life a little bit more difficult. But it looked like Saskia Brewster of Wimbledon High School led this one in the early stages, but Phoebe Hayden of the Isle of Ely Rowing Club has responded. In actuality, these two crews know each other well. Phoebe was 5th in the same category at the National Schools Regatta, where Saskia placed 7th. So Phoebe actually probably has the form in terms of previous racing pedigree, and showing that here as she comes towards the barrier and just about takes the lead. But big kudos to Sheffield City, Baker, who has not only rowed through her opposition from Globe, but put quite a few lengths into her since then, still keeping the rate nice and high, the intensity on, just to ensure that she progresses without any further trouble into the quarterfinals. So Armana, what's going through Saskia Brewster's head at this stage? She led this race in the early stages. She's now just been rowed through by what looks like a very composed Phoebe Hayden. How do you respond?
I think she'll probably want to start moving, something sort of Mahe Drysdale-esque.
That would be nice.
I think obviously in a single it is always hard mentally, and when you do get behind and you can't see your opposition, kind of thinking, do I go now, do I just let it happen? But no one wants to go home early, so I'm sure she'll be doing everything she can to make sure she prolongs that as long as possible. Yeah,
composure absolutely important. I suppose it's a long way to go actually in this one, so they're only just over halfway, and so there is still room for Saskia to move back on her opposition. But at the moment, Phoebe Hayden doing a remarkable impression of someone who is unperturbed by what's going on around her. Very relaxed, really nice stroke. Catching the boat out front, you can see the arms locked on, which is always a sign that the power is being transferred right through that arm, down to the shoulders and through the legs. Just see her propelling that boat using the blades as levers.
She is looking really relaxed there, just going through.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really well-trained sculler. So what are Headington up to this weekend? What should we be looking out for from the Headington School?
We've got a single sculler coming up, Rachel Granger.
Excellent.
We've got a J18-4 and a J16-4, a J16 quad, and obviously champ quad, or J18 quad.
Chance of some silverware?
Hopefully. That's what we all hope for.
Well, it would be good to see Headington on a podium at some point this weekend. I believe race 148 has actually left the state boats as well. That's Twickenham Rowing Club Wilson on the Berkshire station and Glasgow Academy Buchanan on the Buckinghamshire station. As they came past us, our fixed commentary position, it was the sculler from Glasgow who had several lengths of clear water over her opponent from Twickenham. So a really good start there from the Scottish athlete, but you can see on your screens at the moment the conclusion of race 147. Unfortunately for Saskia Brewster, she had a really good start, but she's been unable to overhaul the superior horsepower of Phoebe Hayden, who is just sculling away now, competitor 398, for passage through to the quarterfinals of the junior single sculls. And there we go, just catching just about the mid-race point of race 148. Glasgow probably just about to come into shot, as you can see, leading Wilson of Twickenham by a few lengths. Just watching race 148 moving around the course. Buchanan of Glasgow Academy leading Wilson of Twickenham. Race 149 on the course as well. Our fourth heat of the junior singles. Westminster School, Coalmire on the Berkshire station, and Wake of Yarm School on the Buckinghamshire station. And as they come up towards us, it looks like the sculler from Westminster in that distinctive pink kit having the better of the opening exchanges. So Westminster, Coalmire just coming past our static commentary position ahead of the barrier. She leads Wake of Yarm School by about a length and a half. Just see Jim Harlow umpiring this one. Very little to do for him at the moment. Interesting fact about Jim Harlow, he was the first UK qualified pilot to fly an Airbus A380. Interesting, isn't it? BA. Thought you'd all want to know that. So the split screen showing Glasgow Academy Buchanan coming up towards the line. Still in control of her heat. Some lengths clear of Wilson of Twickenham. And here Coalmire. Sculling very well. Nice proficient short sharp strokes. Making the best of her heat. A few lengths up on Wake of Yarm School. Just a reminder, some of the results from the junior single sculls. Race 146 was a win for City of Sheffield Rowing Club by 4.5 lengths over Globe. Phoebe Hayden of the Isle of Ely beat Saskia Brewster of Wimbledon High School by 4 lengths in 147. Race 148 was a win for Glasgow Academy. That was the one that was just on your screen a couple of minutes ago by 3 lengths over Twickenham. And at the moment, race 149 underway alongside race 150, which has just left the State Boats, which is our first quarter-final of the Championship Lightweight Pairs. Sydney University Boat Club Australia on the Berkshire Station and Oxford Brooks on the Buckinghamshire Station. Sydney making a bit of a detour into the middle of the river, but correcting now.
You can see the umpire's flag up there, just telling the Australian crew, the Sydney crew, to just move out onto their side of the river. Brooks keeping a nice straight and long line.
Of course, these girls are lightweights. I'm not sure what the weight category restrictions are for lightweight girls, but they are measured and judged to a certain weight and have to be, I think for men it's 70 kilos, 72 kilos, something like that. And they have to be at that weight when they race. They have to weigh in a couple of hours prior to race time, which makes, I suppose, for rowers, it's all about the fact we can eat what we like because we do so much exercise. But for lightweights, they have to be quite rigid with what they eat and how many calories they take in. And you can see quite often that bears out in terms of the way they row. Higher stroke rates, much more of a sort of an intense style of doing things. They tend to be fitter as well, a bit more lean. And Sydney here, keeping the rate nice and high, continuing to maintain a lead ahead of Oxford Brooks. Just straining to break clear though. See that high 30s there from Sydney University as they come down past us. But Brooks still in touch.
I do believe from watching as the Brooks go past that the stroke of the Brooks crew is the ex-head of boats from Kingsville, Worcester, Alex Stiles, who's been training with GB, and she's also been training with Thames Rowing Club, I believe, whilst at university as well as Brooks. So a really strong competitor in there from the Brooks crew.
So that caption is wrong. This is the Championship Lightweight Pairs. Race 150. Sydney University at the moment leading Oxford Brooks. We've got lightweight doubles up next. Sydney on the left-hand side of your screen at this stage. Brooks closest and on the right, with the distinctive red, white and blue blades. Just straining to get back on terms with Sydney.